Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. In Finland, there has recently been a discussion about the hijab and niqab in public schools. The discussion started on August 12, 2025, when Social Security Minister Sanni Laasonen wrote on Twitter, "Burqas and niqabs, meaning the cloaks, scarves, and nets that cover the face, are not suitable for schools. Children should be allowed to be children and live freely in Finnish society. It is about equality and children's rights, as well as interaction and safety." Her statement received a variety of reactions. Most political parties in Finland support some kind of ban on niqabs or hijabs in schools, with the exception of the Greens Party and the Swedish People's Party. Education Minister Anders Adlercreutz said he does not support banning the niqab in schools, whereas Finance Minister Riikka Purra took a harder stance, advocating for a total ban on burqas and niqabs, not just in schools, but in all public places. Laasonen's tweet also drew criticism. Some argued that the whole discussion is merely a distraction. One Twitter user wrote, "The National Coalition Party and the Finns Party can no longer be distinguished from each other. Headscarves and veils in schools are a marginal, non-existent phenomenon. At the same time, you're pushing even more Finns into poverty with cuts to income support, budget cuts, etc., even more." Additionally, Pia Jardi from the Muslim Forum of Finland criticized the tweet. She pointed out that hardly anyone in Finland wears the burqa and that she has never seen a child wearing a niqab. Essentially, she dismissed it as a marginal issue. So, what do I think about this? Firstly, I disagree with the people who dismiss the discussion as a distraction or marginal issue. This debate is important for girls' and women's rights and freedoms. Calling it a distraction ignores the real impact the hijab can have on women's and girls' rights. Secondly, I consider the statement about poverty and government cuts to be whataboutism rather than a serious response to the issue of hijabs in schools. Thirdly, unlike Pia Jardi, I have actually seen children wearing the niqab in Finland. And I am not the only one. Recently, Helsingin Sanomat published an article about a youth cafe that featured a 13-year-old girl wearing a full niqab. So the problem of children wearing the niqab in Finland does exist. Now, should the niqab or hijab be banned in schools? Let's examine the potential benefits and downsides. One benefit is that it fosters secularism. The hijab is explicitly a religious symbol, so banning it in schools would promote secular values. There is precedent for this. France bans religious symbols in schools, including hijabs, Christian crosses, and Jewish kippas, for this reason. Another benefit is that it helps combat harmful gender roles. The purpose of the hijab is to cover a woman's beauty from non-mahram men. This creates an unequal expectation. Men can show hair, neck, arms, and legs below the knees, while women are only allowed to show their face and hands. Promoting these standards for young girls reinforces gender inequality. While banning the hijab has clear benefits, there is at least one potential downside. While it is true that most religious families would probably comply with the ban, there are some families who might find a ban unacceptable and choose to withdraw their daughters from public school, opting for homeschooling instead. Homeschooling in Finland is rare but legal. In such cases, girls would lose social connections with peers, and their education would likely be less secular. They could also still be forced to wear the hijab, or even the niqab, outside of school in malls, parks, and public transportation. This is not hypothetical. Some Islamic preachers, like Asim al-Hakim, openly advocate withdrawing daughters from public school if the hijab is banned and sending them to private religious schools instead.
This is a problem that most Muslims living in Kafir lands face. But to my knowledge, the UK is the best place for Muslims to live in because their people and their government are very tolerant and open-minded, unlike neighboring countries who are hypocritical and blatant liars when they say that there is democracy in their land. Rather, there is communism and the likes and socialism, enforcing their people not to wear the girls in school, not to wear the abaya, not the headscarf, the abaya. Anything that relates them to their religion is totally banned. UK is the best, to my knowledge. So, alhamdulillah, if you are unable to prevent your kids from studying in such public schools, there are private schools, Muslim schools, that do not teach this. If you're totally unable and you don't have the means to migrate to a Muslim country, in this case, you have to focus on condensing the amount of Islamic knowledge you give to your children, to teach them that this gender issue and the LGBTQ and the sex education is all against Islam, and teaching the proper knowledge about Islam, teach them how to abide by the Quran and the Sunnah and to have their own identity, and inshallah, they will be saved.
So, the issue is more complex than it first appears. I strongly support secularism in public schools and the fight against illiberal, harmful gender roles, especially for young children. But I am also concerned about girls who could be taken out of the public system by strict parents and placed in environments that do not share secular, liberal values. Numerically speaking, most parents of young hijab-wearing girls would likely comply with a ban. Therefore, it seems reasonable to conclude that banning the hijab and niqab in public schools is the right decision, even though it has potential downsides. What do you think about this conundrum? How could we ban the hijab in public schools while preventing strict parents from homeschooling their daughters to enforce religious norms? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.